go with the theme song.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Well, good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning Subway!
42525. My name is Burnie Burns, sitting right over there. She's employee number 2, but she's number 1 in your heart. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
I appreciate that, but I will take employee number 2. 1 sounds like an awful lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure to be number 1, Ashley. You never know. You never know. You get to do the color commentating as number 2. It's great. You know, the 2525 thing doesn't work unless we use the U.S. date format, but I guess we can be flexible like that if we want to. We can go wherever we want to.
Yeah, look, we are cultural chameleons, and what that means is basically we're just going to pick whatever format feels right for the day, and today, 2525 feels right.
Yeah, we'll just do whatever makes us sound smart, right? That's it.
Exactly.
So I can just feel everyone going, will you just talk about it already? Okay, well, today is going to be a short podcast. We normally have short podcasts, but this is going to be a very short podcast because we're only going to talk about one topic. And if you are listening to today's episode, you probably only want to hear about one topic. And that is that we have acquired Rooster Teeth. Now, really quickly, I want to say here, we is a term that can encompass a lot of people. And there were a lot of people who worked at Rooster Teeth. So when I say we, I mean the people on this podcast. It's me and Ashley. So please, on behalf of us, I'm asking, don't go to our former coworkers and friends and ask them, are you going back? Are you going back? Are you going back? If you listen to this podcast, you know we've had a lot of guests from Rooster Teeth. They have talked about how difficult it is to be out on their own, to be starting entrepreneurial efforts, having independent production companies. So please don't go bother them. That's all we ask today. If you could do one favor for us today, it's please don't go bother them. We would appreciate it.
Right. They're doing absolutely great. And let's keep them doing great. Well, you know, look, we are a current events podcast, and it's not every day that we get to be the current event with our own press release. So reading just quickly from the blurb here, it says, 9 months ago, Rooster Teeth announced it would shut its doors after 21 years of creating content. Today, the Rooster Teeth brand and much of its remaining assets have been acquired by founder Burnie Burns and his independent company, Box Canyon Productions.
All right. Well, so let's talk about that for a second. So when we talk about Rooster Teeth, we're talking about Rooster Teeth, the brand, not the company. And that's an important distinction because the company of Rooster Teeth has buildings and contracts and tons of equipment and everything like that. So this is kind of an interesting one in that we have acquired the Rooster Teeth brand, and very specifically the Rooster Teeth brand. Other shows like the gaming shows like Funhouse and Achievement Hunter, and then big properties like Ruby, you know that's already gone off to Viz. So none of those shows are part of this, nor are any of the shows that were given to the creators when the company shut down in 2024. Our focus in this acquisition was the Rooster Teeth channels, meaning the website, the YouTube channel, all the social media accounts, and then all the shows they're in. And there'll be a list of them. Ashley and I have talked about the best way to cover all of this. And first of all, we want to say thank you to all of our patrons and everyone who has supported this podcast, because you're making this podcast a success is what enabled us to be able to do this. You literally created this opportunity for us, and we can't thank you enough for it. And so as part of our regularly scheduled Patreon content, we usually have AMAs, like a Q&A period. And this weekend we'll have one of them. And what we'll do is we'll have the patrons submit questions about the Rooster Teeth acquisition. We'll answer those this weekend on the Patreon. And then next Monday, Ashley, you think we'll put it out public for everyone to listen to?
Yeah, I think so. And also we'll answer as many questions as we can. This is sort of the beginning of the journey. This isn't the end of the journey. So there will be a lot of things as well that we're going to be figuring out and that we're going to be establishing. And again, because it is two of us, it might take some time to work through everything, but we will answer as many questions as we're able to on the Patreon AMA this weekend. So what we'll do is what we usually do when we do a sort of question and answer, where we'll have a thread, people can leave questions, then we'll answer what we can as regards to whatever questions you do have. as far as like, maybe what shows we're getting back or what new projects you may work on under Rooster Teeth. There was another part of the press release where we do mention some potential new projects. I'll just read this here quickly. Along with the acquisition, Box Canyon announced a new development slate of productions for 2025, including renewed production of some of the platform's classic shows, a new original audio adventure again, and an untitled reimagining of Burns' first film, The Schedule. So that's really exciting too. So it's not just old stuff coming back, also working on some new stuff.
Yeah. So the classic shows are ones we're going to be announcing some of those over the course of the next few months. The long range plan here is to have a production slate that is up and running with new shows by summer of 2025. I'm hoping by late May. And then the new projects we're talking about, first of all, the first one is again, if you liked Day 5 from Rooster Teeth, it's very much in that vein. It's a project that I've worked on. You probably might have even heard me talk about it occasionally. But it's a project I'm really excited about. Happy to be putting that into production this year. Very excited about it. The other one is a reimagining of The Schedule, which is the first movie that I made back in 1997 with Matt Hullum. Once again, not part of Rooster Teeth. He has his own company now, and we're going to partner together on a production for a reimagining of The Schedule, which is great because over the decades that we've been talking about that property, it's turned into an entire universe, and I can't wait to explore it. It's going to be an absolute blast.
Yeah, and so the theme of this, a lot of this is sort of the like passion projects, right? Like things that you're excited to be making. And that is all in line with something we talked about earlier this year on the podcast, which is the vision of de-shittification of our corner of the internet. Is really just chasing passion projects, things that we're excited about, things that will sort of add positivity and happiness to the world.
And I learned about the term in-shittification. I know it's been around for a while, but if you listen to the podcast, you know that my son taught me about this term. And boy, it really hit for me last year because of everything that was going on with AI, everything from like generative content all the way to like AI influencers and just not being able to tell what's going on the internet and constantly feeling every single day that the internet is getting worse. And so our plan for 2025 is to de-shitify our little corner of the internet. And this is one of the first steps that we're making in order to do that. We've been telling the audience now for about a month, Ashley, we have some announcements coming up. And I guess we decided to start with the small one first.
Yeah, look, baby steps, right? Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps.
Don't worry, we'll get to the big ones. But this is an exciting baby step. It's an exciting start.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can tell just from the tone in our voice how excited we are. This has been a long process for us. There is a lot of work in front of us, a lot of work. As I'm sitting here in this living room, I am surrounded by hard drives with literally 2 decades of content on these hard drives. And I'm going through an archive process with it right now. That's just to get basically to the starting line. And then after that, the real work begins. But I have to take this moment and say thank you to everybody, especially the people who support this podcast, for getting us to this point, because there was already so much work involved in getting this point. I'm so excited. I know this was a short podcast, but like Ashley said, we're going to be doing an AMA this weekend. So if you're a member of the Patreon, please submit a question. And if you want to, you can go hit up a patron and say, hey, ask this question for me. And then that'll be available to everyone on Monday. Thank you, everyone, for all your support over the years. We really appreciate it. This is a huge day for us. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning into this podcast, and thanks for supporting us.
And if I may, I'd like to offer a special shout out to 3 of our Scottish Wildcat patrons, to the bloody end, Dan Fedinition, Ethan Eppelman, and Hunter Clark. Thank you so much for being top tier supporters, really for pretty much the entire run of the Patreon so far.
All right. Well, that does it for us today, February 5th, 2025. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. I hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.